In our digital world, we all live in a kind of castle. It's where we keep our personal data, our private conversations, our memories. But how strong are its walls? Today, we're going to learn how to reinforce them. We're building your own digital fortress, step by step.
Okay, so first things first, we need to understand the terrain. Every single time you go online, you leave behind this trail of data. It's called your digital footprint. And it's basically the sum of everything you do. Shopping, banking, just browsing the news. It creates a surprisingly detailed picture of who you are.
Now here's where it gets interesting. This footprint, it actually has two parts. You've got your active footprint, which is all the stuff you share on purpose. Things social media posts or filling out an online form. But then there's the passive footprint. This is the info that gets collected in the background, like a website tracking the pages you visit. This is the one most of us don't even realize is happening.
And that is a critical question, right? Because all sorts of people might be looking at it, potential employers, colleges, and yeah, unfortunately, cybercriminals. So let's get to it and build our first layer of defense. The heart of your fortress, that's the keep. We're talking about your computer, your phone, your tablet. These devices are literally the portal to your entire online life, so securing them is absolutely job number one.
The very first guard you need to post is a firewall. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a bouncer at a club. It stands at the entrance to your network, and it checks every little piece of data that tries to get in or out. It decides what's allowed and what gets blocked. It's your first line of defense against anyone trying to get in who shouldn't be there. And this slide, it shows that concept perfectly. Over on the right, you've got the chaotic, potentially dangerous internet, and on the left, all safe and sound behind that firewall, is your device. It's a super simple visual, but it represents a really powerful security tool.
So think of these four things as your non-negotiables for the keep. First, make sure your firewall is actually on. It's built into most operating systems, you just have to check. Second, get some good antivirus software and keep it updated. Third, always keep your operating system and your browser updated. Hackers just love to exploit those little security holes. And finally, something so basic but so essential. Password protect all of your devices. All right, with the keep secure, it's time to defend the connections to the outside world. This is layer 2, the moat and gate of your fortress. Listen, you have got to be careful with public Wi-Fi. I know it's convenient, but it's an open playground for hackers to just eavesdrop on everything you're doing. Your home network is way safer, but only if you secure it properly. That means turning on encryption, changing that generic network name it came with, and most importantly, using a strong, unique password for your router. And hey, don't forget about Bluetooth. It's another gateway. The simplest rule, if you're not using it, just turn it off. And when you are, try to keep your device in hidden mode. And here's a pro tip for you. Always remember to unpair your phone and clear your data from a rental car before you turn it back in. This next layer, well, it might be the most important one of all. We're talking about authentication, the actual keys that grant access to your accounts, where all your most sensitive information lives. So what is authentication? It's simply the process of proving you are who you say you are. Before the castle gates open, the guard needs to be absolutely sure it's really you. In our digital world, we do this using different factors. The first and, the most common factor is something you know. This is your classic password or PIN. It's the standard for a reason, but it's also the most vulnerable, the easiest one to get guessed, stolen, or cracked. So the second factor is something you have. This is a physical object, and most of the time it's your smartphone. It's something that can receive a one-time code to prove you actually have it with you. Could also be a credit card or a little physical security key. And then there's the third, and honestly, the strongest factor, something you are. This is all about biometrics, those unique physical things like your fingerprint, your face, or even your voice. It's incredibly difficult for someone to fake or steal these. So how do we make our locks way stronger? We combine these factors. This is what two-factor authentication, or 2FA, is all about. You start with your password, that's something you know. Then the service shoots a code to your phone, something you have. You enter that code, and only then do you get access. That second step makes all the difference. And this is why it's so powerful. Even if a hacker manages to steal your password, it's totally useless without that second piece of the puzzle. So the crucial point here is this: enable 2FA on every single important account you have. It is one of the best things you can do for your security, period. All right, for our final layer, we're climbing up to the watchtower.
Now, this isn't about blocking threats so much as it is about proactively watching over and managing your public-facing digital identity. Think of this part as good digital hygiene. First, every now and then, just search for your own name to see what's out there. Second, actually go in and review the privacy settings on your social media accounts and lock them down. Third, delete those old accounts you don't use anymore. They're just reducing your exposure. And finally, a timeless piece of advice, always think before you post.
And that's really the key takeaway from all of this. Building your digital fortress isn't some huge one-and-done task. It's about developing a set of simple, powerful, ongoing habits that give you the freedom and the confidence to navigate the online world safely.
So I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, after everything we've talked about, how secure is your digital fortress? What's the one habit you're going to start today?